Yes, again, happy World Card Making Day. I'm so excited to be here with you guys for the SCT event. You guys have a fun day ahead of you with lots of different crafty people joining you to share what we all love, which is making cards. It's our own personal holiday for card making. So I am glad you're here. Let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me. Whitney, give me the thumbs up.
I'm ready to get crafty.
Okay, I've got Whitney here today too, and she's ready to encourage us through this crafty time together. So let me see. I want to take a quick second just in case I haven't had a chance to see you before on a live. If you haven't met me before, I am Taylor from Tailored Expressions, and I am the creative director here. I started Tailored Expressions 16 years ago because I love the same thing you love, which is card making. I love to make people happy with a handmade card in the mail. I think it's something special, and that is our mission here at Tailored Expressions, is to share joy through the cards that we give to others. So, welcome. It's nice to meet you. If I haven't met you before, please leave comments as we're going. I love to chat along with you. Let me say hi to a few people here today. Linda says our cheerleader is in the house, Whitney. Hi, Kim. We have Pauline here. Hello, everyone. Karen's here this morning. Good morning, Joy and Judy, Barbara, Carla. Glad you guys are all up and ready to go for this World Card Making Day. As we are crafting together, I would love to hear, what are you doing today? Do you have crafts spread out across your workspace? What kind of projects are you working on for World Card Making Day? In addition to watching these fun lives that SCT has put together for you guys today. So I'm wondering, what's everybody up to? So happy to be here, Claire says. Good morning, Yvonne from Naples, Florida. Hello, Holly, and April's here from Houston. All right, well, let's get started because I have some fun things to share with you today. So we are going to be talking about a concept that we introduced at Tailored Expressions back in March when we had our virtual Stamp Joy event. And so you may have heard this before, and if you haven't, I'm excited to share it with you. It's called Happy Half Sheets. So I'm going to move down to this camera angle and show you the cards that we're going to be creating today. I might not get through putting together all of these cards today, but really I want to explain what the concept is behind Happy Half Sheets. We all love, like I said, to share joy. And so one of the best ways to do that is to make a lot of cards. And this is one of those techniques that's going to help with that. If you have been a stamper for a long time, raise your hands. Have you heard of what is called a one-sheet wonder? That is a stamping technique where you take a whole sheet of cardstock, you stamp it with various imagery in different colors of ink, and then you cut it apart and create a whole batch of cards. So our Happy Half Sheets concept is kind of based off of that idea, but when I sit down to make a whole sheet stamped with a different pattern, it's a little intimidating. And so we created Happy Half Sheets. It makes a nice cute little set of cards, 4 or 5 layouts with one half sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to walk you through how to stamp a Happy Half Sheet, and then I'm going to share with you our Happy Half Sheet maps. So then once you stamp your half sheet of cardstock, we have these laminated cards that show you, this is actually the map that I'm going to be using today. It shows you all the measurements to cut apart your stamped piece of paper with, and all the measurements are listed across the top and down the sides here. They're even printed at exact size. So this is a half sheet of cardstock. If you don't want to do the measuring part, you can just put a little tick mark with your pencil, and then you know exactly where to cut once you've stamped your sheet. And then turn that over, and we have coordinated that with the layouts for you to arrange those pieces of stamped paper that you've cut apart. We've even given you different color combo ideas for how to use these pieces. So that is all in the Happy Half Sheets. These are reusable, they're laminated, they're like a reference card if you think of it that way. And we have 2 sets of these currently. We have our original set, and then we have Happy Half Sheets Volume 2. So both of these have different, maps, well, I'll just keep calling them maps, that you can cut apart and create different layouts. So our little special for you guys on World Card Making Day, I want to share a graphic for that as we get into talking here. We are offering free Happy Half Sheets maps, the original volume, with any order you place today only at TE. So you can use that coupon code Happy WCMD and you will automatically get that Happy Half Sheet map in your order. So let's get to creating, and now that you know what we're up to, we're gonna make these fun holiday cards. And I wanted to share with you something fun that I like to do is to take stamp sets that you might not think, oh, this is a Christmas stamp set, but make it look like a holiday stamp set. So I'm taking this set, which is called Bits and Blooms, and I'm gonna be stamping my pattern in reds and greens and golds, and it ends up looking very holiday-ish. So you can do this on use this same stamp set for lots of different occasions. Here's a look at what a half sheet of cardstock stamped in pastels if you wanted to make spring cards, or stamped in fall colors if you want to make pretty fall cards. This stamp set is really versatile for all the occasions. And here are the same colors used on a piece of toffee cardstock. So you get a little bit more muted look. I added the white pigment ink on this one to give it a fun look. So these are all pattern papers that I have created myself, but you can also think about this as a way to use up the beautiful pattern papers that all of us have in our stash as well. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a half sheet of cardstock, and typical cardstock size is 8.5 by 11, and so we're gonna take my trimmer and cut that down. Cut it in half horizontally, so 5.5 on the 11-inch side is going to give me a half sheet of cardstock. Do we have any questions yet, Whitney?
People love this idea. They're excited to see it.
Awesome. Okay, well, as we get going, if you do have questions on what I'm doing or what I'm using, just pop those in there with a big question at the beginning, and we'll make sure we see those and get them answered. Okay, so when you are creating your own piece of pattern paper, there are some tips and tricks that make it a little bit easier. Like I said, I find it easier to start with a slightly smaller sheet, and that's why I like the idea of cutting it in half. It moves your canvas in a little bit and isn't quite so large and overwhelming as a full sheet of cardstock. Now, one of the other things you'll want to do is kind of think about your images in the way that they're sized. So we have, let's just go down the side here. This would be a large, the largest image. Then I'm gonna say this is a medium. And then we have some small images. The leaf, this leaf, our flower, the little heart grouping. And then we have a few, actually I'm gonna put the heart grouping down here. These are kind of what I call filler images. So in some of our stamp sets, we have little dots. We have a grouping of hearts, even this tiny little flower. Those can be considered fillers. So as you're creating your own stamped piece of paper, the first step is to start with the largest image. So that's going to be the most overwhelming image with the size of it and the color that you choose. And you want to make sure that you've spread it out evenly across your paper, so you're not getting a clump of the same color in one area. So I am going to start with the largest image, and we'll be stamping that with Cherry Pop ink. And another great thing about this particular technique is you don't have to have a MISTI, and I actually would, or any kind of stamp alignment tool, and I would actually recommend not using one because it's going to take you a lot longer, and it's kind of about the just the whole creation of the pattern isn't supposed to be super perfecting. So I'm going to start down here and just start stamping. You do want to make sure that your stamp is inked, so you'll see me turn it over and make sure that I got ink on the full portion of the stamp. And then I'm just going to give that nice pressure. Our stamps are red rubber, just really high quality, deeply etched, and so you're getting a great impression just with the acrylic block. And you can see that I'm kind of moving this around as I go. And another tip as you do this is you want to make sure that some of your images fall off the edges of the paper. So that's going to make your eye travel all the way to the edge, as opposed to trying to keep all of the images inside the confines of your paper. That doesn't look quite as good. All right.
I love this technique. I think from my perspective, I have so many stamp sets that I can think that when I think about it, I'm like, I could do this with so many things.
You really could. It doesn't have to be solid imagery either. It can be outline images. It can be a combo of both. You could do outline images, and then if you really love to color, you could color them all in with markers, and you would have a really fun background too. Okay, so if we think about the next size down, that is this one, my medium size, and I'm going to do that with Mint Julep is the color I'm using. And just to let you guys know, if there are products that you're interested in that I'm using today, then you can check them all out. We have put together a spot on our website that will make it easy for you to find everything that I'm using today. It is under Shop World Card Making Day. In our top navigation bar, you'll click on Shop, and then you'll click on World Card Making Day, and you will find some ink bundles that we've put together if you like the colors that I'm using today, and lots of the stamps and dies and other things that are on this particular project.
The free Happy Half sheets are in there too.
Yes, and volume 2 as well. All right, so as I do this second piece, you can see I kind of hug it up against the imagery, so I'm not really going in this open space. I'm sort of filling from that first image and then outwardly from there. So all of my second images are kind of pushed right up against the first flower that I stamped. I come up here in this corner and add maybe just a little bit down in that corner to kind of even it all out. All right, let's put away Mint Julep, and we're going to go to the next one. This is one of our new colors. This came out with our holiday release this year, so just a couple of weeks ago, and it's called Wintergreen. It is a perfect Christmas green. I am loving it. And we're going to do one of our, what I would consider a small size image. And I'll just start popping that in. And you can kind of, another good tip is to rotate that stamp around as you're stamping it, because you want it to show up in different directions. It's going to give your pattern more movement. As you get to these smaller stamps, it's especially more apparent the directionality of the imagery that you're using. So as you go, just kind of pop them in there. And rotate. Okay, you can see it's starting to come together. Karen asked, what's the code for the Happy Half Sheets? The free Happy Half Sheets is Happy WCMD. And I believe Megan has that for you guys listed on the description of the YouTube video as well. Okay, Jalapeno is my next ink color. This one is a darker green. And I'm going to take that other kind of small size leaf image, and we're going to start stamping that in here. You do have to start filling in just a little bit more each time you go. Your images become a little closer together and you start to seal off certain areas, so you have small little, I guess, open white space to fill in. And we're still trying to travel off the page, even with our small images. Another one over here. Okay. I'll hold this up into the camera a little bit closer so you can see where we're at. We've got more colors to add, and then it's okay to come back and add more. So once we get through with this next color, this is Dijon, we're going to take some of our filler images and come back to some of those colors and add more of them. Okay, so this tiny little flower is going to be my next image that I'm adding with the Dijon ink. And this one can go lots of places. We want a good amount of gold. This is really going to brighten things up for the pattern. So I'm adding in lots of little flowers throughout the background. Did we have people saying what they're doing on World Card Making Day?
A lot of people are watching videos.
Oh, good.
And catching up on their craft projects.
I know lots.
What are we doing today? This is it. We're crafting too.
Yes.
I need to make some treat boxes for Halloween because it is going to zoom by and be here.
I know. Halloween, the lead up to Halloween always feels really long, but then it's here before we know it, and then it's gone. So we released our Halloween stuff at the beginning of August, so it feels like Halloween is over and done with, but really, you're right. I got to get my projects going too. I bought these cute little mugs from Target that I'm going to fill with candy and tie a little Halloween tag on them. Give those away. All right. It looks like Annabeth says, I have a lot of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Could I cut it to 8.5 by 5.5? You sure could. Yeah, you can get two basically half sheets of cardstock out of that 12 by 12 piece. The nice thing about the happy half sheets that we've done is giving you all the measurements to create these different layouts. So each of the volumes has those different, here I'll flip over and you can see, this is the non-measurement side, but you can see here's one that does mini slim cards, and here's another one. It gives you all of the measurements. That's really the value in having these maps, is having the measurements to cut them apart once you've done all of your pretty stamping. I'm not quite sure I want to be done with the hearts yet.
Those hearts are adorable.
So cute. They add just that little bit of whimsy into the pattern. Okay, we're going to come back in again with one of our filler stamps. We're getting down to the filler stage, and I'm going to pop in some of these gold dots again wherever I can find a little opening. I like to use these dots in multiple different colors, so we're also going to do some dots in wintergreen and maybe some jalapeno dots too to kind of finish off the pattern. All right, wintergreen next. And you can go back to flowers too if you want to do the flowers. Again, whatever your little fillers are. And once you get this cut apart, my other kind of tip I would give is don't fret too much about, imperfections or open spaces, that kind of thing, because once you get this cut apart, it is going to look fabulous and you won't notice that one little thing that might be catching your eye. You won't notice that anymore. Okay, I think I am going to do, let's do some jalapeno, and I'm going to do some jalapeno flowers to go along with the little Dijon flowers that we have in there. This will bring in a little bit more of a darker element into the last few little openings that we have here. It's okay to overlap some of the images too. I'm gonna go one more time with a few of these dots in some of the smaller spots that I don't have other things to fit in there. Look at that.
Gorgeous.
So cute. We did that so fast, right? Okay, now let me clean off my little area here. I'm gonna clean it with some alcohol and my little alcohol spray bottle on my glass board. And then I can just wipe that up with my microfiber cloth and we are good as new, ready to keep moving on this. Okay, Tiffany asked, yes, when I'm ready to cut it, can you show which happy half sheet you're using? Yes, I certainly will. So the one that I'm using is part of the Happy Half Sheet Maps. This is the first version, and this is the one that is available for free when you use that Happy WCMD coupon code with your orders today only. So this is the one we'll be using. This is what our layouts are gonna look like. And you can see on some of these that, so on here, this layout looks horizontal, like a horizontal card. But for my finished card, this is the layout that I did, and I just flipped it and moved the sentiment. So really you can think about these layouts both horizontally or vertically if you just change where your sentiment is placed. So let me flip this over, and here are the measurements for this particular happy half sheet. As I mentioned earlier, this blue outline around the outside is the actual size of a half sheet of cardstock. So this is the size that you want to be cutting your paper to. So if you don't want to do the measurements on your trimmer, you can take a pencil, you can make a tick mark, and you can kind of do your cutting that way if you prefer. I am going to set this here so you guys can get a picture of what we're going for on this particular one. And I'll grab my paper trimmer. Okay, so right across, I'm gonna start on the left here. So my other tip would be all of the layouts are a little bit different. So kind of get to know your happy half sheet layout before you start cutting, and just think about what makes sense to cut first. So I'm gonna be starting on the left and cutting these vertical pieces, and then I'll turn my paper and cut these pieces the other direction. So my first cut is going to be 1 inch on the left side. Another kind of fun thing to do is as you're cutting these, you can place them onto the map. So you know, okay, I cut that one already, moving on to the next one. I have another 1 inch.
That would be me. I would need to place it on the map. I have to remember what I did.
Yes, it is kind of fun though to see it all happen.
Yes.
All right, then we have 1/4 inch. And the reason for having this 1/4 inch kind of in between the larger pieces and not just cutting a 2-inch piece is because these two pieces work together to create the same layout, and you want your pieces to kind of match up with the pattern of your stamping. So the pieces that are designed to be next to each other often make the pattern look like they are continuing a little bit. So you want to keep those two next to each other. Okay, so we have a 2 inch is my next one. Moving my paper over to 2 inches and trimming that. We'll put that here. Okay, now this is what I have left, and what I want to do is turn my paper then. So my cuts are actually going to go down this side, that way, and I'm going to do 1 1/4 is my first one. This is probably maybe the most nerve-wracking part for most people, because then you've spent the time on your pretty pattern and you want it to, you know, you don't want to mess up the cutting of it, but all right, that was another 1 1/4. And then this is the final piece here. You can see how they match up. So this is how I know that my map has been cut perfectly.
Voila!
Voila! There we go.
The magic of card making.
Okay, so let's bring that map back in here, and I'm going to move my pieces off of this and try to keep them kind of in the order that they go. You can see we've color coded the map for you. So 1 means it corresponds with layout number 1. So you would take those 2 pieces and you would take your card base. I have my card bases here. I have cherry pop card bases, and then I used the diamonds piercing plate. You guys see that fun pattern on that plate? I've done those ahead of time just to save time. I don't have a ton of time here today, so I did that die cutting ahead of time. But think about the ways that you can add just that little bit of extra to your projects. So if you're looking at this particular layout, the layout on the page might look like something like this. It's telling you you have 2 pattern strips and a sentiment in the middle. So what I did was added a couple of other pattern die cut strips, and I took the same stamp set that has coordinating dies that go with it, and I die cut several pieces and made a little arrangement off to the side. So you can really keep these as simple as you want, or you can dress them up as well. So we would take these 2 pieces and set them something like this. And then I have my strips that I cut from the jalapeno cardstock that would kind of flank that at the top and the bottom, just to give it some additional interest. And then my sentiment would go here with my little grouping of flowers if you want to go that direction. So let's continue with this one. I have another horizontal card base with my my die cut diamonds pattern on it. And then we can take this one. I put this strip this way. So like I said, you want these patterns to kind of look like they meet up with each other. So you would want those to, if I pull this up into the screen better, you can see that flower continues on with just a little bit of space in between where we made that cut. As opposed to putting it up here where it doesn't really match up with the pattern, this makes it look like you intended to have a seamless pattern and you just cut a little strip in it. So there's another option for a card layout. Here's the finished one that I did with that particular layout. So added a sentiment and another little cluster of flowers. All right, now I have a couple other vertical layouts. And I have toffee card bases. And then, let's see, layout number 3. Let me grab my map here. That was layout number 3 that we just did, I believe. Now let's move back to, oh, no, that wasn't. That was number 2. So we're on number 3 now. 3 is, okay, I have that backwards apparently in my brain. Okay, so we're on number 2. We're going to take these 2 strips and I turned this one vertically instead of horizontally. So if we go like this with our die cut piece, just like that, and put those 2 strips down here. Now let me show you what the finished piece looks like. This is how I ended up with that one. I put a couple more of our little die cut pattern strips. The sentiment sits at the top, and then at the end I put these little glitter drops all over my pattern too. So when your patterns are really, or when your layouts are really simple, you want to think about those little details that you can add in. Okay, so for the last layout, number 4, it is one big piece just like this. And I'm going to take that on my last layout with my diamonds here. And I put a couple of strips just like this. And then here's what the finished card looks like. So there's what the layout on the paper looks like. Add your sentiment wherever you find it looks the best. And then on this one, I might move the sentiment up here because I've got a large red flower here, where on this one, my flowers ended up perfectly spaced so that my sentiment fit right in the center. So kind of find where it fits best within your pattern. And why don't we go ahead, and I might not have time to put all of these together, but let's keep going and we'll at least put one or two of these projects together. All right.
We need more holiday cards, please, Taylor.
Oh, all right. We've got, let's do this one. So another little detail that I added here was to add some blending around the outside of that diamonds piercing plate. And I think it really draws out, especially in person, it draws out that pattern that's in the background. So to do that, super simple, just take your die cut piece. We have the toffee ink, which coordinates with the color of the cardstock that I used, which is toffee. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add, do I have my ink stand?
Oh yes, I think I took it. I'll give it back.
Okay, thank you. It's a little bit easier to blend with the ink stand. And I'm just hitting the outside edges around the whole piece here. Thank you.
Yes.
I love these ink stands. And I don't have to chase my ink pad all over my my work surface. So thank you, Brianne, for your wonderful innovation on the ink stand, because I use it every time I craft. Especially now with the glass board. It sticks so well on this glass board. It is not going anywhere. That's for sure. Okay, so let's take a look. You can see it gives it some extra dimension. Again, when your paper or when your layout is very simple, those little details mean a lot. And also, another thing that means a lot when you're mass producing is having quick, easy sentiments. So I wanted to show you the sentiments that I used on this particular set of cards is from our group text.
This is another time saver. I feel
Big
like,
time saver.
I love that for the holidays.
For the holidays, it's perfect. And these go with, these different fonts in this set go with so many different things. This is called Group Text Holiday. It has the alignment guides on there so that when you stamp this, which I've already stamped and embossed with white embossing powder, that means these particular squares are going to line up with the die just perfectly, and you end up with 12 different holiday sentiments. There's Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Season's Greetings, and then each one comes in 4 different fonts. So a perfect set for kind of using on your holiday cards. Okay, let me grab my die cut machine. Was there a question that I missed?
No.
Nope. Good. Okay.
I think you're all good.
All right. And we do have another group text set. I don't think it made it into the World Card Making Day category since I wasn't using it today, but we have one for all occasions. So there's Happy Birthday, Thinking of You, Get Well Soon, and I forget. There's 4 different sentiments in that one, and you get 3 of each. So you can get more use out of this die with more of the sentiment stamps that fit it. And then the die cuts in kind of a fun little edge there, a little cornered kind of tagged edge on both ends. So that's what we're going to be using to put sentiments on all of these. Okay, so this one is going to be put down on an A2 toffee card base. It creates a little bit of contrast there between the darker blended piece and then the actual just straight color of the cardstock in the background. I am going to take my thin foam strips. I think maybe Whitney's going to grab those for me. I want this to not be popped up very far because I think it's going to go in the mail, probably. Christmas cards usually get put in the mail, so I like to keep those pretty thin on the dimension. But we have these 1x3 foam strips. Love these things. They are large and sturdy. We have both thin and regular. So our thin foam strips would be 1/32 of an inch thick, which is considered a thin dimensional. And then the regular would be 1/16 inch, which is kind of your standard. But if you're going in the mail or you are adding more than one layer of dimension, so I also want to pop up my sentiment. So that is going to help by reducing the total dimension on my card just a little bit. So we'll pop that down.
Do you also want to mention the Bits and Blooms do have a coordinating die with
Yes.
them?
Yes, they do. So if you don't want to create patterns or you want to create those little extra pieces that you can add on as little groupings of flowers, they do come with a set of dies. They don't come with, we do offer a set of dies. So if you want to stamp and die cut some of those pieces and include them on your half sheet arrangements, you can do that as well. So it's just called Bits and Blooms Coordinating Dies is the name of the set. All right, now we're going to just take our tape runner, and that's the other great part about these is quick assembly. The map tells you exactly what to do, and you just do it. We have our little border die here. This scalloped border came from the All Planned Out die set, if you have that one from TE. It is a kind of a layout builder set, but it happens to have these two border dies in it that I use a lot as well. So we'll trim that to match up with that end, and then let's put on our other end here. Okay.
Someone said, are the strips, the thin foam strips, are they cut to a specific size?
Yes. Yep. So they're 1x3, so 1 inch by 3 inches, and you can just peel them off the backing paper. They're already pre-cut. And then when I want a smaller piece, a lot of times I'll just grab for my 1x3s and I'll do what I call fringing my foam, and I just cut it right on the roll and trim it into like smaller strips if I need something smaller than a 1x3. But we do also have thin foam squares. So we have some that are pre-cut into 1/2 inch squares as well. So if you want something a little smaller so you don't have to fringe your foam, you can do that. You can see I also fringe this foam because I cut the squares in half when I need smaller pieces as well. So those are a couple of my favorite foam adhesives. Okay, let's grab one of our sentiments. Let's go with Happy Holidays. That sounds great. I'm gonna pop that right in the center here. And I mentioned before that I was going to pop this up, so I'm going to use that smaller foam strip that I cut down so that I can get a little bit more dimension on the card. Again, not a ton, because I want to be able to stick these easily in the mail. Oh, Deborah asked, what was the attachment on the die cutting machine? So I have a Mink machine, and it comes, I'm sorry, not a Mink machine. I have a Big Shot machine for die cutting, and it comes, they sell a Big Shot caddy that you can attach to the side of your Big Shot that holds all of your tools. So if you have a Big Shot, it is a big help. It has a little place for tape dispenser. We do sell it at the Tailored Expression store. It's called Big Shot Caddy, so you can look there for it as well. All right, so this looks pretty simple, right? I think what adds a lot of pizzazz is the the little glitter drops. So I'm gonna grab my yellow glitter drops is what I'm using. A nice bright color for this holiday themed card. So I'm going to take my glue press. Another one of my favorites. I use this every time I craft. I use it primarily for small gems, intricate pieces that need to be glued, anything that needs a thin line of glue. And you can see I'm barely pressing down on this, so you don't have to have a lot of strength to squeeze this. That's another big kind of helpful thing about this, is if you have any grip issues, then you just lightly squeeze here and the glue travels out of the thin nozzle. The other nice thing is it sits in this little kind of caddy, and I leave mine uncapped, so the cap just sits right up here. And when I'm done with my crafty session, it might get a little like clogged. I think I've been known to call it like a little booger on the end that you can just kind of pick off, or you can use a straight pin to get the clog out. But while I'm crafting during the same session, I don't have any issues with it, with any kind of clogging. It sits on this little silicone piece down in the bottom, which is airtight to the nozzle, and so it doesn't get air into it, and you're just ready. The glue is at the ready all the time. So that's the glue press. It is a product from My Sweet Petunia, who also has the Misty that many of us use. So I am going to next take my embelly jelly. This is a little kind of wax tip on the end of this stick. This is an embellishment pick and place tool. So that's going to help me grab my little glitter drops and place them right where I want them. Now the toughest part for my aging eyes is to figure out which glitter drops are face up. So I have to pull them up into the camera a little bit more so that I can see them better, and make sure I got one that's face up on here. So I'm doing all of the centers on the yellow flowers first, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some of the bigger ones. Here we go. I also want to add a little bit more, so I'm going to put them in the centers of the red flowers as well. You could even do a grouping of more than one, but sometimes when you go in the middle of the bigger flowers, you can pick bigger glitter drops, and then that makes more of an impression. I just need to get them flipped over here. Here we go. All right, let me hold that up so you can see it. Cute, right?
I love it.
So fun and easy and fast, and you get 4 cards. I'm gonna pull in the other ones, the other finished ones that I have from the same map that we used. And then I'm gonna say farewell so you guys can get on to the rest of your exciting World Card Making Day. All right, so there are the 4 projects that I made from that Happy Half Sheet map. And I'll pull that in here again one more time as well. So there's what that looked like, how we cut our half sheet apart to create those 4 layouts. So fun, right? Okay, let me say a proper farewell before you guys head out and enjoy the rest of the day. All right, I hope you have so much fun learning with the other crafty friends that are coming up after me today. And enjoy World Card Making Day. Go and make a difference with your handmade cards. You have the power to change the world one card at a time by sharing joy. So it was great to spend some time with you guys today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.